Things actually froze last night in this canyon. I have my pants hanging on the top of the tent because the legs were wet when I got in and dirty, and I didn't want them inside the tent. And yeah, they were stiff as a board this morning, so I'm letting things thaw out in the sun. Okay, didn't have a tree fall on me and didn't get attacked by a bear in the middle of the night, so I guess I'll count that as a win. Granted, after that nasty COVID plus Noro episode on the CDT, I tend to count it as a win if I haven't crapped myself in the middle of the night, so, you know, and people say I'm not an optimist. So I have about 6 more miles of the relocation up Diamond Creek, and then I will be back on the Redline, which is overlapping with the CDT for a while. Looks like I'm not going to quite be done with the burn scar. I'm just hoping this trend of better trails in New Mexico continues. I'm liking this, being able to make 20 some miles. And I've just been seeing all sorts of bear tracks. That's actually only a medium-sized one. There's some huge ones back here. On the plus side, I'm in an area that wasn't burned quite as bad. On the downside, it looks like the creek has run dry. I'm hoping it comes back before I get dumped on the CDT. I feel like I'm kind of playing water source relay here. So this is the exit point where I leave Diamond Creek and head over for the CDT. Doesn't look like much of a trail. Welcome to the CDT Redline. Huh. That's what I was afraid of. Went a little too far because I missed this slightly non-obvious turn, other than the sign. I'm really appreciating the more straightforward CDT trail while it lasts. Well, the good news is it looks like Highway 59 is the end of the burn area, so not that much further to go. Downside is I am kind of butting up against that 20 plus mile dry carry, and the water source information isn't super inspiring. So there is a decent water source in another 6 or so miles. My plan is going to be to aim for that. I would normally go a little bit further, but with that long of a dry carry, I may need to stay by the water, drink as much as possible, put a safety leader in my C-knock, and then try and do 20 miles tomorrow. Which, if the trail, stays like this, that's not unreasonable. Especially if I'm motivated by thirst and worry about lack of coffee. This section really has me looking forward to the CDT in fall. I'm totally going to come through this section instead of that Gila shortcut everybody does. So I just got to the saddle up above water, and I saw hikers ahead, and I'm like, oh, wow. I was going to be impressed if it was, you know, an actual CDT hiker doing the Black Hills. It turned out that was Veggie and Karma. Really cool people. So, of course, I just lost another hour, like, chatting with them. So it turns out they actually passed my tent this morning, which I wouldn't have heard them because the sound from the water was so loud. And then they were seeing tracks along the way and noticing that one of the treads looked funny because the tread on my topo is falling apart. Turns out they're a little more prepared because they cached water in the section ahead. So they're a little less stressed about this whole, you know, 27-mile dry carry I'm looking at. But I got a plan. I'm going to figure out a camp near this water source down here. I'm just dropping down to a trough, and I'm going to drink as much as I can in the morning and carry my 2.5 full liters, and then probably put a safety liter and a half in my CNOC. Hopefully it's not leaking again. That should give me enough flexibility. I mean, it hasn't been super cold or super dry. It's not like the Arizona section where the water just seems to suck out of you. And I have some hope that there's going to be other sources along the way. The only one that people were really talking about was 1.6 miles total out and back from the trail. And it's not a real reliable source. So if the trail's good, I'll make it work one way or another. Well, that's different. Buried bathtub. That is really nice water, at least. So if it looks like I camped in a burn zone again, that's because I am camped in a burn zone. Basically, I had to drop down to get to the trough. The trough, there was one site I could use next to it, but there are notes about that interfering with basically animal behavior. Part of me was tempted because it'd be cool to like look over there and see a bear drinking or whatever, but I'm gonna do the right thing. So I came down the drainage a little ways, found something that doesn't look like it's under a widowmaker tree, and so in the morning I hit the trough, drink as much as I can, pack a whole heck of a lot of water, and then set off on this 27-mile dry carry. Home sweet home.